What?
All right, let's go. Yeah. All right. Hold on.
Oh man.
All right. Another edition of the IOS podcast. I'll be completely honest with you, Jack Fritz. I didn't think I had that yo in me. We all know. Well, I'm heartbroken right now about sports. I'm angry about sports. But you know what? Pitchers and freaking catchers, buddy. And I can't say that like pitchers and catchers to me every year is such a special day. It's such a joyous day. It's such a day that really matters. And like, I can't say that I'm quite where I normally am for pitchers and catchers. I'll get there. I am, but pitchers and catchers, and I can't undersell that. Like, baseball's back, and that is really, really exciting, no matter how much I hate sports right now. How you doing?
I love sports right now. It's so good to be back. It's so good to be
I think
back.
this pod is all going to be Jack convincing me to be excited about sports again after being like just absolutely gutted, just my guts and soul ripped from my body and thrown on a wet, disgusting football field in the biggest game of the year. It just stomped on and crapped on, and we don't curse on this podcast, and I just restrained myself twice and you didn't even know it. So I'm still a pro, even though I'm devastated. But you know, I love the Phillies, and it's gonna be awesome. But how you doing, pal? You're upset too. Don't act like you're just totally fine. I know you are excited with the Phillies, and for you that is a bomb that is that will get you back. But that was tough.
Well, yeah. So I was heartbroken about the Eagles till about 10:05 this morning. I think it was that I saw Andrew Painter throwing to JT Realmuto, and everything was like, dude, this is great. And then I saw Trey Turner hit a car at batting practice. And I don't know about you, but I keep forgetting Trey Turner's a Philly. Like, it's like they added the best shortstop in baseball.
I know. It's ridiculous.
It's so like we talked about it, but like I was like the Gregory Soto thing was massive.
Yeah,
and, like,
they just got better. Like they definitively, no doubt, got better. Obviously the Harper for half a season thing matters and all that, but like they got better. Like they got better this offseason, definitively better.
Yeah. So seeing mitts popping and balls in. The crack of the bat.
Yeah.
The crack of the bat.
The mitt pop, the first mitt pop of the year is definitely holy. That is the special sound, no doubt.
No, it's awesome. So listen, the Eagles hurt, and I'm obviously a Phillies guy first, which seems to offend a lot of people. I'm not totally sure why.
It's because you bring this on yourself. Don't act like you play no role in it. You definitely shove it in people's faces at times when they don't want you to, and that's why.
Well, and if I just being completely honest, being in the trust tree here and bringing people into our lives. So Sunday when the Eagles lost, I did have the idea of tweeting Phil season, but
you read the moment well. Thank you for not doing that.
But I was like, you know what? Not tonight. I'll let these people be. Because listen, so I'm actually surprised at how crushed I was by the Eagles.
Yeah.
And just being totally truthful, like it hurt me more than the Phillies. And I know that I think would surprise people, but the Phillies were so weird because it was like, first off, we shouldn't have been there.
And what a run! What a run, dude! What a run! There were more still through the Super Bowl, like 15 better moments in the Phillies run than the best moment in the Eagles run. I mean, what are we talking about?
Now, I think we'll look back and say Game 5 was gutting. I think I had a similar feel after Game 5. Game 6, it was just like the way I would explain it is that Game 5 was like that's when it kind of felt like the magic had run out. And
you literally, I was with you, and you literally, when that game ended, turned to me and said the first words you said to me when that game ended was, "The Phils just lost the World Series." That's literally what you knew it in the moment. Like the moment that game ended, you're like, it's done.
Mm-hmm. So that's when I felt like the magic was over. The Mancini play, the Chaz catch, whatever. The Brandon Marsh at bat, but the a good couple of months here. It's so funny because it's been a great couple of months.
I know.
Mixed in with like just some crushing losses.
Easily, yeah. Again, like think about it. In the last decade, literally decade, we have only had 3 teams get to the championship round of their sport, and 2 of them happened this year. It's just the other one won, and no one else. So it is by far, just from like playoff success, the most successful year in the last, since like 08, 09, whatever you want to say, like as a city. And it's been soul crushing.
But somehow the Eagles made it like that much worse.
Much worse. I will look back and again, the Eagles were way more dominant. Like they were a better team than the 2022 Phillies were, the 2022 Eagles. But I will absolutely look back at the 2022 Phillies team and run more fondly than I will look back at the 2022 Eagles team and run because of how it ended. Like the way it ended, just like I will recognize the dominance and I appreciate it. And like if they win a Super Bowl down the road, you'll look back at it differently and Jalen will get one and all that type of stuff. And I'll remember it as Jalen's breakout year and all that stuff. But ultimately, like even though the Phillies loss in the moment was painful, it really was. Everyone saw us talking. Like I am at the point with that Phillies run where even though I'm bummed they lost, I can look back and say like, that was, we don't curse on this podcast, but that was bleeping awesome. Like that was bleeping awesome. Like what a run. Like I can't believe we got all those moments and all those things. We were down the ballpark for the freaking 2 clinchers and the World Series games. And like, we got this amazing thing. And I know the Eagles season was like that. And it was an amazing season, but like, they just kind of dominated all year. And then it ended in like the most painful, horrible way possible that like, I don't know how I won't look back on that. Like, and I'll always look back on that and remember the pain before I remember the good. Whereas with the Phillies season, I will look back on the good, then the pain. Does that make sense?
Hate to hear it.
It is what it is.
Well, just
facts.
Well, it's funny because like before we just started recording the podcast, I came in and I put on Dancing on My Own, and it doesn't.
Oh, Jack was singing it. Jack was singing it.
Just right back.
We're laughing. Like if you catch the beginning of this broadcast, we come into it laughing because right as Jack's like hitting the live button, he's singing like Dancing on My, like he's like getting into it, and it was like, we were laughing because it was good.
They're the greatest. What's so cool is that like just seeing
actually, let me correct what I was saying. You were going, I'm in the corner.
Yep.
That's the part you were saying. Just I want to get it right.
But no, and what's so cool this year, James, is that the guys are down there. And Schwarber's wearing a shirt yesterday saying like bleeping Phils, and they're all just like happy and joking around, and it's like they feel like our guys. You know what I mean? Like I think
we got guys, Jack. We got guys.
Well, because we talked for a while, it was like like these guys are all from the outside coming in here, and like it's hard to build a culture and whatnot. It's hard to if guys haven't had equity in the franchise, like it's hard for them to kind of come together and bond together. And it just seems like they picked up right where they left off, and they added in Trey Turner, and like Harp's not even out there right now. It's like Schwarber being the vibes guy, Turner hitting cars, and Kevin Long busting his chops, and like Andrew Painter's the talk of camp, and like JT's talking about him today. And it's just like they're all back, dude. And it's like I know the Eagles lost. I understand it's heartbroken, and I was heartbroken too. But like It's 75 degrees, it's sunny and Clearwater right now. Mitts are popping, bats are cracking, the Phils are back, and in like less than like we're talking about baseball in a month, man. Like in less than a month, the 25th of freaking March or of February. We got 9 days. We got 9 days until we see the Phillies play baseball again, and like they should go to the World Series every year because it's way better when you go to the World Series and there's like no time in between. I know they lost. It was crushing they lost, but like the way that they are talking in camp right now, the way they're vibing around in camp, the way they're bouncing around, the way that they're throwing bullpens, the way that John Middleton's just like watching bullpens and hanging around, Chase Utley's at fantasy camp. I mean, it's all coming together at the right time. It's like, I know you're not over it, James. I know you're not over it. But for me, it was the perfect elixir, and it reminded me of the things that truly matter, and that is Phillies baseball.
So that was of every single thing, and Emily's tried to say nice things, and we've done therapy sessions basically every single show. 4 radio shows I've done this week, and every single one has been some form of therapy session. And I honestly, day one, I was like Monday, I was absolutely crushed. Like I wasn't even angry. I was just, you saw me. I was like despondent. Like I like, honestly, it's one of the saddest days I've had in the last like 20 years of my life. Like it really was. Like I was really, 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 really sad. I felt devastated. And then Tuesday I was really angry. And Wednesday I was really angry. And today I was like angry and sad, but not like quite as bad. What you just did there was by far the best I felt. Like that should be in the freaking 2023 World Series DVD. All right, Phillies, that speech right there, when it all plays out, put that in there because that was awesome. I do feel better. Like honestly, we never lie to the IOS listeners. Like I feel a little bit better. Like that. Like you said, I'm not over it. I won't be over it for a while. I'll never really be over it in a certain way. But but that was good, man. That was good. I'm excited. Let's go.
Well, the Eagles loss is like, it's one of those losses that, and we talked about this today, off the air or whatever, but it's one of those losses that you'll tell your kids about, tell your grandkids about, like, like for your generation and like the end of my parent, like not your generation. This actually isn't an old joke, even though it's usually an old joke. But for like the generation above you, I would say everyone talks about the 64 collapse.
Totally.
They talk about Davey Lopes is out at first base. They talk
Chico Ruiz, buddy.
Chico Ruiz. They talk about Joe Carter. They talk about Joe Carter for sure. I feel like the 81 Super Bowl is like whatever. It's like
I mean, they just lost quick. Like Jaws threw a pick on the first pass he threw. They were down like quick and easy. Yeah.
So then 02 and the 04 Super Bowl, which I never really considered heartbreaking.
I didn't either, Jack. For me, everyone, like, people talked about that week, and I never thought we were beating that Patriots team. Like I went into that game not expecting to win, and everyone's like, it was close, and it was like, yeah, kinda. Like it was close at halftime, and then the Patriots had a 10-point lead, and we had a 10-minute drive to score, and it just felt over that whole time. That whole time it felt over. I'm right there with you. Like that wasn't as crushing to me. Like that Patriots team was great. It was their 3rd Super Bowl in like 5 years or 6 years or whatever.
Well, and then Phil's losing at 10-11, crushing. And then this Eagles thing. Like I think Game 5 for me is still gonna, like, I will always be crushed by what happened in here in Game 5. But I feel like I'm in the minority there. I don't think many people bring up Taiwan or Brandon Marsh and Chaz and all
they
that.
do. I mean, it was crushing.
Chaz.
It was crushing.
It was
Chaz
definitely crushing.
Sure. Honestly, I think people bring up Reese more. I think people bring up the Reese defensive.
Oh, the error. You know, I know it happened. But it never really.
It's coupled because with his at-bat late too. He had the at-bat and the error. But I agree. Yeah, the Marsh at-bat was unforgivable. I mean,
the Marsh at-bat and the play that I think that we will remember. It's talked about, but the play that I think that will age the worst is the Mancini play. Just because that ball was smoked. It was right down the line. That guy sucks at defense.
He was just there. He was just on the line. Yeah, that was a hit. So yeah, it's a great point. And also, I also think though, like, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Well, but then I was going to say, like, the Eagles losing that Super Bowl, like we did it today. There's 5 things that I think you could complain about for the rest of eternity.
Yeah.
And that is the punt return, the fumble, Jonathan Gannon / defensive line, whatever, the
field and the
penalty
flag
and the turf. Like 5 things that I think for the next 30 years.
Forever.
Unless they win. And
But
then it's
then we'll still
all
talk
forgiven.
about it. But I agree. Not all forgiven, but we will still think of the Super Bowl that we got kind of that they blew and that we kind of feel like we got cheated out of in some ways. So like I'm so with you. And also the point of like where I agree, game 5 was a crushing loss, like especially in hindsight where you just lose 6 and it's over. But it's also not like this series wasn't over in that game. Like it wasn't over. You still were in it in 5 until you're not, like you're an homer. Like, so like, but it wasn't the finality of it. Whereas in the Super Bowl, it was like, it's one night, one game. It's all there in your hands. And like for it, and especially for it to end with that flag and that called in that spot. And we're not gonna get into all of it, but just for it to feel so empty. And so like that's it. All right. That's the end. This whole thing is ending there. Cool. Yep. Cool. Like that's why so many NFL fans, that's why like NFL, like broadcasters and all these people. I mean, this for once, it wasn't just like Philly fans being like, that shouldn't have thrown that flag. It was like freaking Kirk Herbstreit, who calls games for the NFL, was like, this is like, I can't believe they threw it. Greg Olsen said on the broadcast twice, doubled down in the post game. Like it was, Pat McAfee, like all these like real big NFL people. So it's like, I don't know, whatever. I'll never get over it. I'll never get over it. So I think it's the finality of it. Whereas like in 5, yeah, you knew it was over and we did, but like, I still had hope. I knew logically they weren't going to go to Houston most likely and win both. But like when Wheeler came out and looked nasty and I was like, all right, wait, we could, like, why the hell not? Like this team's been unreal and special. So like, I think because we had that tiny upswing or hope after it, it doesn't hit as hard as the finality of the Super Bowl.
And I mean, and the Schwarber homer.
The Schwarber homer, the whole thing.
No, I mean, he did hit one in Game 6 that gives the.
Oh yes, yeah, to get it started. Another great point. Yeah, but then I was talking about the foul pole, and then that.
Yeah.
The game. They're both scarring.
And I was gonna save this for the take back, but I feel like while we're kind of comparing these two teams and like what we've been through in the last couple months, I really think the Phillies have a better chance of getting back there first than the Eagles.
I do too. I think it's a great take.
Like I know that sounds surprising given, like Jalen's ascended to a top 5 quarterback and people say that's all that matters. But like for as good as Jalen was this year, I feel like a lot of it is also like their roster is overwhelmingly better than most teams in the NFL.
And now they got to pay him and so much. 22 of 22 starters playing in the Super Bowl. Are you kidding me?
Like, Brock Purdy.
That'll never happen to Brock Purdy, Daniel Jones. I'm right there with you, buddy. And we saw with that last Eagles team out just how hard it is to ratchet it back up. And granted, they won, so they had a different kind of motivation or whatever. But like, I saw a stat today that blew my mind that and Burrow, I'm sure, or Hurts, one of those guys will break this. But like of the 17 last quarterbacks who went to their first Super Bowl and lost, none of them ever got back again. None of them. And again, Burrow and Hurts are on that list. So like, I'm guessing at least one of the two will. And like, I really do believe in Hurts. I think he's a superstar and I'm like, he's great, but it's freaking hard.
Yeah.
It took 23 years of my life to see the Eagles in the Super Bowl, and I've only seen it 3 times. And as we talk about, I'm freaking old, man. It's hard, The Phillies, like, and I think this Phillies team is well built for this next period of time right now, where they are really, and I like the vibes. I think vibes matter in the playoffs. I think it matters to get you through a season. We talk about that all the time, like. I'm with you. And I just think like look, the history of baseball over the last 20 years, let's say, or the modern era of both sports, says it's, unless you're the Patriots, says it's a lot easier to get back to the World Series multiple years over a certain period of time, like a 5-year run, than it is for football teams too. It's just a fact.
Well, and here's my thing is that, there's no salary cap. But at the same time, like Turner's here, Harper's in his prime, Schwarber's in his prime, JT is in his prime. Marsh, Stott, and Bum all theoretically should get better. We'll see what they do with Reese. I mean, I know he's going to be here for this year, but, maybe they give him a contract extension after this year and he stays here and he's a Philly for life and all that stuff. But that's a really good core. You combine that with the bullpen's finally getting figured out, and they seem like they have more guys coming through the pipeline. A guy that I feel like I've let the city down and not getting excited about because I just haven't seen him that much, but seems like he's going to be in their plans a lot is Andrew Baker. He's been talked about a lot. Like, remember 2018 Sir Anthony, where there were stories. Well, there were stories in spring training.
Of course I do.
Where it was like, this guy's going to be insane. So I think we're kind of, there's talk of like, oh, maybe they should make more bullpen additions. I think he's going to be their final piece to the bullpen. But then you think about Andrew Painter and you think about Zach Wheeler, and we'll see what they do with Nola. Because now after Yu Darvish signed yesterday, he's by far the number one free agent on the starting market next year.
Mm-hmm.
So like he could go to market and probably command $30 million a year.
Yeah, well, I mean, Darvish got 6 for 108, and it's going to end when he's 42. Like, what can Nola get out there?
Yep. So, we've talked about this a lot, but not only is there no salary cap, but it's also like they're building everything underneath the surfaces to where there should be this wave of talent that are going to help facilitate the major league roster, help facilitate the bullpen, help facilitate, the hitters, and we'll see what they do. And if guys aren't good enough, then they can just move on and get better talent in here. So there's such a good feeling about these two franchises. But if I had to choose the one that I think is going to go back first, like, the way the Phillies are talking so far and the way that like it's almost the motivating factor they have this spring training and the relaxed, like there are guys kind of feel early, I think is massive. And it's a lot. It reminds me a lot of 07 to 08. Now, obviously the 07 team got swept and it wasn't great, but they got there. Now the Phillies went on a magical run and got to the World Series. And now it's like, we got to do it again. And we got to get back there again because, like we said, all throughout the run and after the run is like, how can that not be intoxicating for these guys? Like, how can they be at spring training today and not be like, dude, get me to CBP, man? Like, I know we got to go to Texas in the first weekend of the year and watch DeGrom get shelled because he's hurt already.
You think DeGrom's pitching? I don't.
Maybe we'll see him in the second half.
Maybe we'll see him in the second half of the year. That start, no chance.
But I can't wait, and I've kind of been trying to shield my expectations, James, because like I know how hard it is to get back. I understand all of that, but there's just this feeling about this team that they're gonna make noise again. I'm not saying they're going to the World Series because I think that's unfair, but I was much more worried about a lull than I already am early in spring training, and apparently like secondary market tickets for Baycare Ballpark are like, like actual ticket prices again. It's like, it's so funny to me how in one season or really 6 months, everyone's like, oh, baseball's fun again. Like let's go spend money and fly to Clearwater and flock the streets and sell out Baycare Ballpark and like cheer these guys on. It's a good spot to be back. And we're almost there.
Yeah, buddy. Yeah, and like you said, they upgraded the roster. So, I like, we can't, to people who've listened to this podcast for a long time, like literally one of the earliest like running themes that I remember is us talking about the Phillies just not knowing how to win and how important that was. And in the September collapse, after September collapse, we just kept going back to this theme of like how important it was to know how to win big games and what it takes to win those games and to get through the full season and all that stuff. And look, we can't say that now that they know how to win, now that this group literally showed that they can really come through in big spots and moments and bond together and rise above and do something special. Like, we can't now not say that isn't going to matter to us going into the season, right? Like, we can't have said how important that is for years and then not say, hey, this team has that experience now. And that should be valuable heading into this season and through the course of the season, and ultimately when the games matter most, and you have to win games in September. So I'm right there with you. And again, I think they're a deep team, a talented team. And, I think they've really kind of filled up all the holes. You could say depth in the starting rotation is a question, obviously. But falter for a regular season guy, as long as he's not making playoff starts again, that's fine. And Painter being the wild card of this just like insane upside guy where they just have to be super, super smart with him in terms of making sure he's there for games that really matter. But man, the upside with that kid, like we've talked about, if the guys, I saw someone in the chat, and we're going to get to chat comments in a bit. If you want to throw some questions in, whatever, we'll get to that in a couple minutes here. But I saw someone say Andrew Painter's Doc Gooden, and I'm like, yeah, dude, I get it. Like, like someone at the age of 19, 20 who can just come up to the majors and absolutely dominate because they're just that freaking good. And like Painter, like that, he fits the profile for that. Like obviously you have to see him come up and do it in the biggest moments. And look, my thing, Jack, athletes are humans. Like, Andrew Painter's never pitched in a major league stadium with a ton of people looking at him and on TV and all that. Like who knows? But
what did I tell him at the NLCS?
Yeah, exactly right.
He's part of a huge crowd. I said, see you next year. So
yeah. So he feels good now. He feels like
he knows what it's like.
Jack.
He knows what it's like.
Jack. So that's the point. But like, I think like he fits the profile of someone who could be Doc Gooden, like someone who could come in the league and just like be a Cy Young candidate as like a 19 or 20-year-old rookie. Like, you know what I mean? And again, I'm not expecting that. I don't think he'll pitch enough innings, all that type of stuff. But I'm saying talent wise, he could do that. So there is, people should be really excited. I will say the one thing I was thinking about when you're talking about the two teams, and again, I think this is actually a really good thing in that I agree. If I had to bet on one of these two teams to win the championship, the World Series or the Super Bowl in the next, let's say 3 years, I would bet on the Eagles I bet on the Phillies before I bet on the Eagles. But I will say, I do think both teams have a real chance, especially when you consider that the NFC being just a trash conference right now with trash quarterbacks. So again, it's so funny. I was just talking about this and we were just talking about this earlier where it's like the idea I was talking about with a buddy where it's like, he was like, who's not from here. He's a Chicago fan. And he was like, yeah. So he's like, has this been like an awesome year or a horrible year? And I was like, we were just talking about it. And I do think that, I think the hope that it gives us about the next few years is probably why it's more awesome than the pain of the losses. In the moment, but I think there's real hope, and I think the Phillies, like again, I would not be surprised at all if they go to the World Series. I wouldn't at all.
Well, it's so funny how we went from maybe a year and a half ago of like, what is the Phillies' path to ever winning a championship in Price's prime? What's the path? What's the path? And then turns out it's just like, sign Schwarber and sign Castellanos.
Well,
Castellanos to an extent.
Well, I mean, you mean everyone's going to be saying that when the Castellanos breakout happens. Don't worry. So this is really funny because this is actually around the time that we started the podcast. Like I think we probably started 2017, 2018 range or whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
I was just looking at this because obviously I'm sure a lot of people know, hey, last midday show for me tomorrow, and then morning shows coming and all that, and big life change and all that. But I was thinking about like the midday show, and I was thinking about the years that we've done it and how it started in October of 2016. And I looked at I know, adorable. So after the 2016 Phillies season, but I looked up I wanted to see like, all right, what was the first open? Because we're nerds and we care about dumb things and we're obsessed with the Phillies, Jack and I, and Philadelphia sports. I was like, all right, I want to look up and see what was the first opening day lineup for the Phils that I covered, that we were a part of, or just the opening day team. And like, dude, like, oh my God, man, like, oh my God, you look at this roster here. I'm actually going back to the opening day. I pulled up the 2017 Phils. Let me actually.
2017 was a great year. Are you kidding
me? Let me actually get the opening day lineup for you. Just I want to.
Well, while you're riffing,
I'm here. I'm ready for it. But go ahead.
I'm just saying, like, I think I would take the 2017 Phils over the 2018, 19, or 20 Phils in a heartbeat. Like all Terrence Grand Slam off Kershaw, Rhys Hoskins coming up. Like it was a magical time.
66 win baseball team. Ready? So here we go. Ready? This is the 2017 Phillies lineup. This is 6 years ago. This is 6 years ago. Like not even. This is in April, 6 years ago, this is okay. Ready? April 3rd, 6 years ago. This was the Philadelphia Phillies starting opening day lineup. Your opening day catcher, Cameron Rupp.
Of course, yeah.
Your opening day first baseman, Tommy Joseph.
Tommy Joseph, yes.
Yep. Do you want to guess? Would that be more fun?
Second baseman, Cesar Hernandez.
That was an obvious one.
Shortstop, Freddie Galvis.
Yep. And third is
Third
pretty
base,
obvious.
Michael Franco.
Yep. So just real quick, just to summarize, an infield of Joseph, Cesar, Franco, Galvis. Okay, keep going. Your left fielder.
Was that the Cedric Hunter year?
No. So the left fielder, in my opinion, the best, was not for the Phillies, but the best Major League Baseball player career-wise in this lineup. You'll never get it.
Peter Borges?
Howie Kendrick.
Oh man, they traded him that year, and then he won a World Series a couple years later.
He was really a nice baseball player, but again, Howie Kendrick.
I love Howie Kendrick.
I did too, but again, he is, I think, probably the best career of all the guys last time. This is the back end of the career. All right, obviously center fielder. I think relatively obvious. Right? Yep, and then right field. How about it? Give it to me, lefty. Left-handed hitter.
Oh, Michael Saunders.
That's so. And your starter, 2017. You want to remember Jeremy Hellickson. So 6 years ago, the Phillies opening day lineup was Cameron Rupp, Tommy Joseph, Cesar Hernandez, Maikel Franco, Freddie Galvis, Howie Kendrick, Odubel Herrera, Michael Saunders, and Jeremy Hellickson. Yeah, dude, we've come a freaking long way.
Well,
a long way.
Was that the year that Janmar was so lucky for the first did he have 30 some saves and he was just getting shelled, but it was right at people? I love Janmar Gomez, man. I bring it back now. Fantasy. I bring it back now, man.
We love him because of fantasy. We probably had him at the right moment in fantasy.
Come on, man. He was the Derek Lowe of closers with that sinker, man. He can still pitch today. But yeah, no. And listen, those are the years that you go through just for these moments.
I agree with you, dude. I agree with you. I think that we go through those years to have a chance to win championships.
I was so pumped about Michael Saunders. I was sadly excited about Michael Saunders.
Yeah. All right.
And AJ Burnett in 14. I was really excited about.
Oh, buddy.
And Aaron Harang.
Oh yeah, I was excited about Aaron. I mean, again, so many of those guys, like Jay Bruce. I was excited about Jay Bruce.
Well, Jay Bruce is supposed to help him contribute, make a major league team.
Yeah. Well, I guess that was later. Jay Bruce is a little later. Yeah.
Jay Bruce is 19.
Yeah, Jay Bruce is 19. Yeah, those teams. God, dude, what a run. All right, we'll get to the take bag coming up. You got anything else before we do some YouTube comments?
Nah, let's do that.
Let's get some YouTube. All right, how about I'm gonna scroll up a bit, you scroll a bit, let's pull some. I'm just gonna say hi to some people. Let's do some shout outs real quick, because why not? You're here, you're hanging out with us. You deserve it. Mid-Major Matt, our buddy. Love you, pal. Jersey.
By the way, Mid-Major Matt loves gambling.
He does. And well, he's good at it. He's good at it. He's a lot better than I am at it. I'll tell you that much. Joe Girardi hater, I can get down with that. That's a strong name. Isaac. Shout out to everybody here. Anthony. Relly Matt, really Matt, I'm guessing that is, but it says Relly Matt. Oh, that was the Andrew Painter's Doc Good guy. Good comment by you. Drew, our buddy Drew in Westchester. Shout out to Drew.
Talk about someone. You think Drew Westchester's over the Eagles loss or not?
No, I Drew feels it. I know Drew. Drew feels it. Drew feels the pain. Drew feels the pain. All right, let's roll here. How about this? Let's get who improves the most this season? Stott, Bohm, or Marsh? Remember, improves compared to what they were last season. That's a very good question. That's from Ross.
I'm gonna go with.
Question. It's a really good question. I'm struggling to think about it right now. I know what I'm gonna go with, but I think it's a very good question, Ross.
I'm going Bohm.
I am too.
I'm going Bohm.
It's the extra weight. Look at me. Yeah.
Listen,
I'm such a sucker. Every year I'm like, don't. The best shape of life. This guy put on muscle. He's looking great. Don't overreact to it. Bohm's gonna be awesome. He
can't do it.
20 homers, 22. What are we doing?
25.
Yes!
No, I legitimately every time why would we ever fall for best shape of your life? And then I get one every report about his gained 10 pounds, and it's just sick. So he's gonna be an all-star. I legitimately cannot wait to see Alec Bohm this year. and just in now, this is obviously reading maybe more far into anything I've ever done, but in the one swing I saw today, looked like he was trying to lift the ball more. Looked like he was trying to lift the ball to left.
You're taking small sample size to a whole new level. Yes.
No one better. But yeah, so so I saw more lift today. Dude, you know me. I'm a Cavsman. I noticed Cavs.
Oh yeah. So maybe, I don't know. I guess we might have new listeners to pod after the run. Hopefully, check us out. Pod's awesome. We love doing it. The more people listen, the happier it makes us, because we freaking love it and we want to keep doing it always. So I forget what I was gonna say.
I like Cavs.
Jack, yes, Jack is a huge Cav guy. Like, as many times in our lives has said to me, "Hey, look at that guy's Cavs," or some version of that, or like, "Wow, can you believe those Cavs?" My buddy Tommy, my buddy Tommy. You've met my buddy Tommy. You've hung out at his house before. Also a huge Cavsman. Cavs.
They just kind of stick out. Anyway, like JT's Cavs are sculpted. They're just sculpted Cavs. But the first video of Bohm the other day, it was just like the legs look thicker. And when the legs look thicker, that's when the power starts to jump a little bit. Now people say, "Oh, I got to see the arms." Like, what do the arms look like? Is that where the power's coming from? The power's in the legs. And the leg, like, he just looked bigger. Like he looked like he was stronger than Reese. And Reese is kind of just like big, strong, whereas Bohm just looked strong. So if you can couple the bat to ball skills that he's already shown with like not being a slap hitter, I mean, that's always been the dream. And that's been the dream that we've always dreamt on, is, can he lift the ball? Can he go from being Yandy Diaz to like Jason Worth in a way? So like, the fact that Bohm could be he could be a impact bat that could start the year batting, I don't know, 7th, James. But if Castellanos struggles,
nope.
I'm
back in him. I'm back in. When he's great, I'm gonna go back to my original take and said I knew it all along.
I might be more, honestly, more in on Casty than you this year. Like, I could be more in.
Oh, good. We're both in. I am so ready to be hurt by that guy again. I'm so ready. No, I mean, what are the odds? He's not a good hitter. He was a great freaking hitter. People don't just fall off a map at 30. Like, that never freaking happens. I guess, unless you never know. But like, it never happens.
It would be very surprising. So, but yeah, I think he's going to be awesome. And I can't wait for the first spring training game to kind of see him. But yeah, I mean, really mad, put in there JD Martinez. That's always been like the perfect kind of comp for him, is, can he be JD Martinez? And, maybe we're kind of treading that direction.
He's got to get a lot more pop to be JD Martinez, but
very similar hitters through their first start of their career.
I love it. And look, he still is entering his physical peak. He's 26. He'll turn 27 in August. Like 27, 28, 29. Like, that's when guys like really start to really fully reach that physical peak. Speaking of really mad, I just want your reaction to this comment. Because I honestly, it's one of those comments where, like, I don't know which way to take it. He says, how many Phils have hit 100 dingers before their 27th birthday? Not many. But Franco was one of them. Mikey deserves a ton of respect, in my opinion. Not sure if you're being serious.
Well, it's only because he came up at like 21.
No. I mean, I don't know. I just,
he's pretty much out of the league at 29. Like
I saw him at a walk-off once in person, which was really fun.
Really? Yeah. Well, I will never forget the walk-off against the Marlins. I mean, that was a magical evening.
Wow, mid-major Matt.
Come on, there's no way you're serious. He's total bust. I mean, like, whatever, fine for a year or two, but holy cow, just
really serious. Wow, no, that's crazy. Mid-major Matt threw money on Cassie to lead the league in homers. So,
well, that's
what we call bold. Oh, okay, Anthony, I'm happy you brought this up. Shout out to Anthony in the chat. Jack, obviously, us being different ages, definitively. Andrew Painter, definitively younger than you, pal. and was asked obviously about music. It's like, it was a very funny thing. It was some kind of music he was listening. He's like, oh, I like old stuff, like 2010s and 2000s, maybe some 90s, and it's like a real knife to the heart of many of us. Yeah, tough. What was your take on the whole music gate or whatever we want to call it here?
Well, my first take was what does that make 60s and 70s? Is that like
dead
classical?
People. It's freaking dead people is what it is. What are we doing here, man?
I know.
Oh my goodness.
I mean, it sounds like he was into Sean Kingston. Sounds like those kind of throwbacks. Akon.
Man.
But it's not surprising. It's not surprising at all.
It's not. Look, he's 19. I get it. It's just like it's tough, man.
Believe me, I was talking to our buddy Nick Earnshaw, and he's like,
shout out to Nick, 21 or 22.
Like an Akon song came on. I was like, oh, this is awesome back in the day. Yeah. He's like, I don't know what this is. And I was like, come on, man, this is like middle school. And he was like, what year was it? 06, 07? I was like, yeah. And he's like, oh, that was kindergarten for me. And I was like, oh no. Did the young kid become the old man?
Shout out to Nick.
I'm not ready to be I'm really not good. I'm like,
you are built to be an old man. You want
to go into me and like my makeup. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like, as being an only child, I talked to mostly adults my entire life, so I'm way better at talking to older people than I am talking to younger people. So like these kids, it's at work. It's like, I don't know what I'm supposed to say to you. I relate way better to the older 40-plus-year-olds like you, and that I do the younger people, because I like older, like old music.
Totally. You're an old soul with that. You're great with that. You're phenomenal with it.
It's gonna be. I'm just, it's getting sad to be me, which is just another day.
Yeah, they look at the guy looking at you right now and wonder if he has any sympathy whatsoever for you in this. Zero.
But you should have. No, but that's not fair. I think you should have.
Oh, not fair. You spent the history of this podcast making fun of me for being old, and I should sympathize with you. Yeah, but you are upset that you feel old. No way, pal. Like, suck it, enjoy it. Also, I mean, hilarious that the old guy here is the one with AirPods on. You're wearing like, freaking ancient, like, I didn't even know they still had those headphones, like cord headphones, like a 75-year-old man. Like my grandfather's dead, but if he were alive, he would probably wear those headphones. Just saying. But
here's why.
At you, buddy. Enjoy it.
But here's why you should sympathize with me, is that you are cooked, right? Like you are, and I'm more in I'm starting to realize what is in front of me. You know what I mean? Like, that's a dark place to be in. So
thanks, buddy.
I think that's why.
Yes. So I'm the one who's like midlife crisis territory in life.
You
all
are,
right, buddy?
which is why I'm sure you can't wait to wake up at 3 a.m. starting on Monday.
Here's my philosophy on the whole thing. All right, here's my whole philosophy. Like, the camera's been waking up at like 4 o'clock, 3:30 all week. He's like super ready, but glasses and a light, and it's like awesome. Like, my alarm's going to go off and I'm going to get up, and it's just going to become what I do every day at that time. And I'm just going to hope it's going to work out. That's my way of going about it is, hey, I'm going to go to bed earlier. Obviously, during baseball season, I'm going to have to take naps during the day. Like, that's going to be weird, but I'm going to have to figure it out. And then I'll stay up for the Phillies game. I'll go to bed right after it. And West Coast games will be fun, because maybe West Coast games, I'll come home and I'll go right to bed and like sleep all day and then just stay up through the show the next day. There's all kinds of wild options for what my life could be, and I'm just going to figure it out. So it's going to be good, buddy.
I'm really happy for you. That sounds like a really fun time. Sounds like a really fun time.
Hey. I will be done at 10 o'clock every day.
Yes.
I have a 4-year-old daughter, and I will be able to go to everything in her life. I will be able to be there to coach her teams. I'll be able to go to her recitals. I'll be able to watch her plays. I'll be able to like go to her school functions. I'll be able to chaperone freaking trips and stuff like that. So like, you know what?
Wow. This turn.
I'm just saying though, like that's what I think
really
about.
Quick
like,
turn.
Obviously I have to think about like the positives. I have to wake up at 3:30 in the freaking morning every day, Jack. All right. And one of the big positives is that I will get to do all that stuff with Zoe, and I'll get to be a part of her life in a way that, like, if I was done it, if I worked at night or if I worked like late into the day, that I wouldn't have the same freedom to do. So how about that? I'm spinning a negative into a positive, buddy. See?
As someone who has almost made a career out of that on this podcast, I appreciate the effort. I really did.
And
I like, the good part of it is that you made me feel awful, like 2 minutes after it. So like, thank you so much for that. I really do appreciate that. Meanwhile, you know that like I'm going to be working until 6.
Well, your kid's later. Too young for it to matter. By the time your kid
if I leave earlier, it's like it's going to be a whole thing. It's all good.
You're going to be kids like
I want your schedule now.
I know. Well, so do I. I mean, that the saddest, and I am not sad. I'm very appreciative. I'm very excited. It's an unbelievable opportunity. I'm really excited to do the mornings. But middays in radio are the single best hours that you can have in any job in any. Like, I get it. Like, I get that the last 6 years of my life have just been a freaking joy. From a scheduling, I mean, now granted, I do a lot of stuff after. Like for Joe and John, it's probably the best schedule of all time. Like I do have to do pods, I do a lot of extra stuff and all that. But just for radio hours, like the midday show hours, doesn't get better. There's no
question. But the real big question here is that I'm sure that everyone's wondering at this point is like, how is this going to affect your High Hope schedule? Like
that's true.
I mean, we're gonna sometimes. Well,
it won't really that much. Like there won't be as many like obviously playoffs and stuff like that when it really matters. Like there will be post-game pods. There will just won't be as many like late night pods, but like I'm done at 10 every day. So like we could just record at 10. It's like, so it won't be a big deal. The point is we're still doing High Hopes. It's not changing anything from that perspective. We'll be there. We're doing it. And look, I have the whole day. So like, depending on days, we can record at noon, we record at 2 on days where it's night game or where they're off. I can record at 6. We can do normal stuff. Like it's going to be all over the place. But the point is like, the only thing that'll change is we probably won't do the after like a random 3-game Brave series in June. We won't record at 11 o'clock on a Wednesday night, probably. But that's pretty much the only change. Like it won't be. And look, when the playoffs are there, my sleep will just suck. Like I will suck it up. I'll figure it out. I'll do whatever it takes. We'll be recording after the games. Like I'll deal. I'll figure it out. Okay. So that's my official statement. Good. Is that fair? Are you good with that statement? That's good. I think
it's a good start. We'll see if you live up to it. But your opening press conference was good. Your opening press conference. I think the fan base is sold on what you got planned.
I'm happy. Yep. All right. I saw another good comment I wanted to get to. You made me laugh too much. Yeah, one more and then it's wow. It's a long one. But we haven't done one in a while. Oh, this is why I want to do it. I want to do it. I did this for you. This is good. For you. Jay, this is because honestly, as much as I've enjoyed this and the pitchers and catchers have got me going, I'm too bummed to go this deep. But this is for you, Jack. This is from Passports. Not passports. I expected passports. Sports. I'm guessing Passports if it's PSS. Either way, I won. What current minor leaguers do we need to keep an eye on during spring training outside of the big 3 pitchers? Jack, the floor is yours.
I gotta remember which young ones are up. Like the problem is like their most interesting hitters are like young. You know what I mean? Like how you
and look, there's no spots for a hitter. Like they're all clogged up offensively. No one's outside if someone's like beating out Dalton Guthrie for the extra outfield spot or something.
There's not like the last couple of years. There's like Moniak, Hazley, Bohm, Stott late in games, and like this year, I mean. Off the top of my head, it's like, I mean, it's going to be Guthrie. You're going to see like Derek Hall. You're going to see like the kind of fringe players. But the difference between this team and the last couple of years is like you would watch Stott late in games and like, can he be the shortstop going forward? You would watch Bohm and be like, all right, is that the guy? You back in the day, you'd watch Freese, you'd watch Moniak. The good part about having a team that says World Series aspirations is that you don't really have to worry about that stuff, and like some of the batters, some of the hitters they drafted the last couple of years are like they're all probably a year away from being in this kind of spotlight. So I again, no, it's probably the worst answer I've ever given on prospects, but like they're not here. You know what I mean? Like all the prospect guys, all the pitching guys.
You mentioned Andrew Baker before already.
Like I can't wait to see him pitch. You know, I want to see what he looks like. Billy Sullivan's a guy that was throwing the other day in camp. Like these guys that like the 2020 undrafted class, I feel like almost all of them got hurt because they threw like 100 miles an hour, and like that doesn't really sustain itself well. So now they're kind of coming back around. So I'm excited to see like Ben Brown and Chase Ansel.
Didn't Ben Brown get traded?
No, there's another Brown that I'm forgetting.
Okay,
but
not
whatever.
Ben.
Yeah. There's like these guys that drafted or they signed like undrafted free agents in 2020 that like we're gonna start to see. So I'm more excited for the pitching side in spring training. We'll see more of like the possible bullpen pieces, you know, late in games. So that's exciting.
All right, take back.
All right. So like you know me, I am very anti changes to baseball, but the more and more that I've like looked at stuff, like I'm legitimately excited for every rule change. You know, I was
even including the second base guy,
the Ghost Runner.
Yeah,
I've come around the Ghost Runner.
Me too, dude. Trust me. Again, especially with morning show guy. Love Ghost Runner. Anything that's gonna end games quicker, I'm sorry, I'm in on now. It's just it's my lot in life.
Well, first off, I think it all evens itself out over 162. Like I don't think it's that huge of a difference. And like I hate extra inning baseball. Like I love that there's no clock in baseball. I understand that, but regular season extra inning baseball just turned into home run derby every time, and I hated it. Like it just turned into a terrible product. By the way, I figured out today that Angelo covered the 33 inning game. Did you know that?
No, I didn't.
I had no idea he covered the 33 inning game. He's there for every inning. It was like a 37 degrees. So
wait, what? So 26.
The longest game in baseball history. The longest game in baseball
26. 26 innings is the most longest game in baseball.
Maybe it was like minor leagues or something.
Might be. In Major League Baseball, 26 innings is the longest.
There's a 33 inning game that Angelo covered in Rhode Island.
Yeah, so it's minor leagues. There's no Major League Baseball team in Rhode Island. What Major League Baseball team?
But yeah, I don't know. That was interesting.
That is. I mean, that might be the record for the minors. I don't know. I could look.
But yeah, so like you know the Ghost Runner, I just think it adds an interesting angle to the game. Like I've liked watching it. So I was opposed to the beginning, but I like it now. The bigger bases thing, like we'll see, you know. But
why not? Right? It is 33 innings for a minor league game, so it's the longest minor league game ever.
Okay. Well,
look at this. Paul Tuckett. There you go. All right.
Paul Tuckett, Red Sox.
So you were like half right, half wrong.
Half right, half wrong. But yeah, so like the bigger bases thing, like we've said it before, but if Theo thinks it's a good idea to save baseball, quote unquote, like I'll do it. The shift, like I could have lived with it staying around, but like my whole premise the entire time was like I just want to see guys play baseball again, and it felt like
save it from himself. Just it is what it is. I wish people could hit it where they ain't, but like with how hard these guys throws and the lefties and all this stuff, like they're just not going to do it. So like, you know, do what you got to do. Look, that's what they've done in sports. We talked about this. Like that's what they've done with like, 3-second violations and, shot clock originally and all this stuff. Like, like sometimes the thing in hockey with the blue lines, like the 2-line pass, like all this stuff where it's like, sometimes you just have to say, all right, like whether or not, it's, people just aren't figuring this out. And we just have, or someone has figured this out too good, like the trap. That's why in hockey with the Devils and stuff, it's the same thing as that, it's just is what it is. Like between the shifts and the guys who throw really hard, it's just not super fun to watch. So yeah, I'm with you.
The Eagles tush push, you got to outlaw the.
That's just dumb in the sense that that's just one team doing it. Like every team does the shift. Every team, it's not fun anywhere. Like that's just like, why doesn't every team do that? Because they don't have a quarterback who squats through 600 pounds anyway. Don't get me talking about the Eagles. I've been happy. This has been such a lovely hour for me. Go ahead.
And the thing that I'm most excited about, and I thought I would hate it, but given everything I've seen in the minor leagues and the way that these guys talk about it, like the pitch clock, I think is just going to be. I think it's going to.
I'm so happy to have you on board on the pitch clock train, as I've been for a long time. I'm so happy.
I just think it's going to revolutionize how people. I think it's going to legitimately put baseball back in like a really good spot nationally, because like
I agree.
it's gonna keep the game moving. It's not gonna have the down time, and I think there's gonna be a lot more balls in play. So, I don't want to see the game change, but at the same time, like it needs more action in it. And that's been my philosophy for a while now. Like they need more action, and I think every single thing they did is an attempt to do that. So I'm willing to give it a shot. I'm not,
and they need a quicker pace of play. Like they need the game to move. Like nobody wants to see some dude walking around the mound. Like it just is what it is. Like games used to go way faster when we were younger, even when you were younger. I know that, when I was younger, they certainly did, but like, it's like balls in play, action, fun plays, triples, stolen bases, like stuff like that. And a game that moves, a game where it doesn't feel like I can look away from the TV for 50 seconds or a minute and not miss a pitch. Like that shouldn't be what the sport is,
Yep. So I'm excited, and I want to see what they do, and I hope that they help the game. That's all I care about. So all right, you need to let me get like excited for. There's two things that I got like almost butterflies talking about.
Wow,
excitement.
This is
the first was Zach Wheeler putting his locker right next to Andrew Painter's. And right next to Bailey Falter's.
Well, I love this. I love this. Right there, buddy.
Just print the World Series tickets now.
Yeah, seriously. Honestly, of all the things we talked about this whole podcast, that makes me feel like they're going to the World Series as much as anything we said.
That and the Schwarber bleeping Phillies.
Yeah, those are the two things. You're right. Those are the top two things, without a doubt.
And Turner hitting a car, and then K Long making
fun of him. Looking a little.
Oh, let's go. But I think that's freaking awesome, man. And I think that matters. I think it matters. I just do. But the other thing is like
100%.
It's like I keep trying to calm myself down about Andrew Painter. Like I could be floating right now thinking about Andrew Painter. But then tonight, the article from like Gelb or Alex Coffey about how he's just like, yeah, I throw a cutter now. It's like, do you want me to just overjoy from excitement? So not only does the guy throw 100 miles an hour, not only can he spot his fastball at both sides of the plate, not only does he have feel for a curveball, feel for a changeup, feel for a slider. Now he's just like, hey, I got a cutter too. Like, I keep saying to myself, James, appreciate Andrew Painter. Because I think we're about to start watching a Hall of Fame career.
That's what I said last pod.
I think we're seeing every.
If he stays healthy, yeah. If he stays healthy, like that's a Hall of Fame. Like his profile's Hall of Fame. Like what he's done at his age, at the levels he's done it. Like that's Hall of Fame stuff. That's like multiple Cy Young winner talent type stuff. Like those guys who do what he did at his age in Double-A. Like Jack's talked about it so many times. Like. Yeah, and small sample size, but like 12 and a half strikeouts per 9 to 0.6 or whatever it is, walks per 9. Like that's crazy. Like, and he's 19. Like, again, like 99% of baseball players don't even get to Double-A at 19. Like, it's what he's doing, what he's done, and what he looks like is like real special stuff. Now he's a pitcher. Like Jack talked about this. You talked about this last pod too. Like, it's harder to wrap your hands around a pitching prospect and say like, all right, this guy, no matter what, is going to have a great career because like, it is what it is. These guys get hurt. It's harder to stay healthy. It's harder to stay consistent and all that. But, the profile is like Hall of Fame. Like the profile is like one of the 10 best pitchers in baseball, 5 best pitchers in baseball. Like he's that kind of guy, potential wise.
So, can't wait. I might get it. Like when his jersey comes out, I might have to.
What number is he?
Yeah, I don't think it's out yet because he's in the 70s right now.
It's got to be a good number. We need a good number, Andrew. I need something that's gonna pop. I'm just saying.
I know. It's gonna be beautiful.
Yeah.
See him wearing because Spencer Howard wore that. It's gonna be important.
I want him in. Yeah, I want. Yeah.
I think he wore 24.
I can see that.
I can see. 24.
I had I can see that. Needs to be good.
Last two things. Shout out to our guys. But Scott Fransky and T Mac are going nowhere. So the Fransky stuff is just massive. Like talk about having a postseason run for the ages. Welcome back into our lives. Scott Fransky. So the city is kind of reminded of how incredible he is. Oh, and speaking of the McCarthy family, yes, Pat, you are still dead to us.
Yeah, dude. No, we're out on you, buddy. You retweeted the Mets. Yeah, I'm scrolling through my timeline, all innocent, whatever my Twitter timeline. Then I see at the top, I'm like, oh, Pat McCarthy retweeted something. I bet that's cool. It's the freaking Mets Twitter. Like, no, gross out, just out, buddy. Sorry, I shouldn't say buddy. Guy, out, guy, boss.
Yeah.
Haas.
Yep.
Chief. I get chief.
Just a guy.
Just a guy,
Pat McCarthy. So good news on that. And Garrett Stubbs.
Good news on that, Pat. You're out. Good news.
Yep. And then Garrett Stubbs made the correct decision today. He said that dancing on my own is retired.
Of course it is.
It needs to be retired. It's a 1-year thing. It was magical.
Yeah.
Time to move on.
No doubt. No doubt. I as a fellow member of the tribe, I would have never expected anything less from Garrett Stubbs, but just being wise and knowing what the right thing to do in this situation is. So shout out to my brother, Garrett Stubbs.
Well, you're going to watch him in the World Baseball Classic on Team Israel?
Oh yeah, man. It's my dude. Shout out. I'm excited. I look, I root for Team USA because I'm American and that's my country. I live here. But like you better believe Team Israel's my number 2 team. You're damn right it is. You're damn right it is. Go Israel, baby. Go. We got this. All right. I believe in you guys. Gabe Kapler managing us? Go Gabe.
No, I don't think so. Maybe he's probably playing left field.
He's out there. You think spring training is more important than managing the WBC?
Yeah. Does he have any pride?
Yeah. Outrageous. You're a Jew or not, Gabe? Come on. All right. I know you got to go on the radio because you're a big star these days. So.
Yeah. Well, it's Phil season, so everyone remembers that.
It's like Jack Fritz, Phil's time. Get on the radio, buddy.
Yep. Yeah. That's what I do.
Yes. All right. You got a final thought?
Final thoughts is, James, I hope that this last hour has been cathartic for you, and I hope to see some life back in you because I feel like you've been so jumpy and angry and lashing out at coworkers.
I was mean to you at one point. I was like, touch me, not really, but like the tiniest bit mean, and I did feel bad about it.
Smidge mean.
I felt really
Pretty
bad.
mean.
I love you. I don't ever want to be mean to you.
Lucky we do this podcast.
It wasn't really mean though. Like, let's be honest, it wasn't. You've said way meaner things to me. Into a microphone.
I say it with a smile. You said it with hate.
Not hate for you, buddy. Hate for the Philadelphia Eagles in the moment and everything that happened in that tragic day that will never be forgotten. February 12th, 2023, one of the saddest days of the last 20 years.
Oh, and Trey Turner's a Philly. So
yes. And I will say my final thought is it actually did. Like, I really do. This was fun. The Phillies, I love the Phillies. It reminded me that there is joy to be added in sports, even though it doesn't totally feel like it right now. So this was it was a positive hour for me, buddy, and it did help. So thank you. I appreciate you. All right. Thank you to everyone who showed up in the chat. This was awesome. We'll do it again next week and answer chat questions. And we're getting close. It's going to be awesome. Pitchers and catchers. We got spring training games, like you said, next weekend. Was it Saturday, I believe, the first game? Friday or Saturday next
25th.
weekend?
25th. And you're going to spring training this time, right? Because they're all going?
Finally! For the first time in my life.
You're 42, dude.
It's like number one on my sports bucket list. I can't wait. I'm so excited. It's going to be awesome. So, I mean, you're going, obviously, because you're like a fixture down there. It's like, what's spring training without Jack Fritz these days?
Jackie Clearwater.
Yeah. All right, you really do have to go. So let's do this. Pod will be up soon for anyone who wants to listen again. If you're a glutton for punishment, that'd be wild. And I love everyone who listened. We love all of you guys. We'll be back next week, and we'll continue to get the Eagles out of our system and focus on what's important, as Jack would say. The freaking Phillies are back.
It's Fritz and Seltzer.